Hello, 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 hello. We are running good. Let me do a man. It's been it's been amazing. Happy Saturday, October. I'm sorry, September 26th, 2 days before my birthday, a month and a couple days before Jesse's, and this episode is wonderfully titled. You got to be kidding me! So, for those of you that were wondering what this is about and you saw the write up, good morning, Jennifer. Jennifer Helton, good morning to you. When I say you got to be kidding me, and I also said we're going to provide some perspective on humanity and talk a little bit about more what 2020 needs, and then discuss very, very briefly why it's difficult to change a tire at night. All right, so what does that have to do with anything? Not a whole lot, but I have confidence in Jesse that he's going to make sense of all of it, even though he had nothing to do with coming up with any of that. I love to just put him on the spot for things. What's up, Jesse? How you doing, man?
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Jennifer, and anyone else that'll be watching later on. Yeah, I gotta say, when I saw the title of the show, it's LT.
Jesse, I don't hear you. I don't know if it can. LT, let me know if you hear Jesse when he talks. I'm not getting any audio on my end.
Let me try this to see if it's working. Oh, they hear us. Okay. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, LT. So yes, I gotta say, when I saw the title come in, or the prescription, or the so I gotta say that Joe is the most perfect husband, and he puts his wife before everything, even this. So he was actually up until 30 seconds before our show doing something for his wonderful wife. So I'm gonna blame that on the audio malfunctions we're having this morning. But in any case, what I was saying is he brilliantly titled um, the show, and I knew exactly what he was trying to say when he was talking about what he was talking about. Not at all, not at all in any way. Um, but I think we're going to make sense of it anyway. And the "You Gotta Be Kidding Me" title is actually, whether he meant it or not, been kind of the response of the week to anyone that sees my face. And that has been from pretty much everybody on the department. And yeah, I am getting a lot of, "You gotta be kidding me." I'm in complete loss. I don't even have words. So yeah, I have some pretty big news that I'll probably mention along the way. But how's it working on your end, Joe? We back in tracking.
So I still have nothing in my headphones, which is fascinating. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. But if they're saying they can hear you, that's good enough for me. I do have an idea of what it could be, but I'm not going to mess with it yet. Also, and if someone could just give me, okay, I'm good. So anyway, I got some feedback last week that I took way too long to make an announcement. And so, Jesse, I just want you to jump in, get to it so we can move on so that no one gets hit.
Oh, really? Okay.
Let's do it.
I have effectively resigned from the San Antonio Police Department October 2nd. I will no longer be a San Antonio Police Department detective investigator. I am going to be self-employed, and I will be full-time working for Solution Point Plus. And that is huge news for me and for my family and my friends and my academy classmates and for pieces of the department. it's kind of interesting because as things are starting to balance back with the whole COVID thing, all these new duties are coming up, and I had my hands in a lot of mixes, and they're already trying to schedule me to do things, and I have yet to reply to say, you're probably going to need someone else to do that, and that's pretty tough for me, but I'm going to. But yeah, Joe's last day was Thursday. It was very heartfelt send off they gave him, surreal, but we all knew that Joe was going to leave eventually. As sad as it's a huge loss to the department. It's a huge loss to the mental health unit. But I was always going to have my foot half in, and it was going to take something huge to get me to leave. But I think it's time. I think we can do this. I know we will, and big things are coming. So that was the new announcement, and I love Joe's feedback on that. And we're just going to knock it out of the park early on, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about. So now Joe can talk about his tires in the dark.
Well, I mean, simply stated, anyone that's ever had a flat in the nighttime is difficult, because to like get the jack out of the back of the car and then like lift the vehicle and change out the spare while trying to hold a flashlight is tough. And so the point of all that is it is difficult to multitask in the dark. I'm just going to stop pretending, man. So here's the reality is, you guys know that when I put in my notice last week, and so Thursday was my last day. So I am 2 days into differently being employed, self-employment. And Jesse was like, nah, man, not going to happen. You're not going to get away on your own. I'm coming with. And people were like, hey, is this really happening? I think it's interesting. So for me to leave, while I know my value and what I brought to the unit specifically, and to the community, to the department, and I know that the unit will miss me, and the officers who have come through the in-service class have expressed their concern as well. But I also know that there's like certain individuals that don't miss me, and my send-off was very, very it was almost like just comical. You know, and I'm not going to make this a complaining session, but like when your direct chain of command makes zero effort to like even stop by and just be like, good luck, wish you well, and like they don't show up when there's like a formalized like plaque ceremony and there's just no one there, it just makes me giggle, because I get it, and the ego is a real thing. And so people are threatened by intelligence, people are threatened by courage, and people are threatened by people who are willing to do difficult things. I don't know what that was about. My wife just came in here, gave me a wild look. Huh? I can't hear you. I don't know what that was about. There's a delay. She's not happy with me. Okay. So anyway, I just thought it was like, anyway, you laugh about it because what's the point? But it's comical. So I think that there's people in positions of leadership within the department that are like, good riddance, like get out of here. We don't like that you're trying to make things better around here. So anyway, I'm excited to move forward now and help out from a bigger perspective, from a wider lens, and try and affect change at a higher level, so that way it can hopefully trickle down and seep down. But I also believe in the benefit of getting at the heart of every individual officer. And that's what Jesse and I have been really good at doing through our training specifically, is we can like get at the heart of the individual, which then creates this massive ripple effect. And I don't want to talk about Shreveport much this week, although we love Shreveport to death, but the last 2 episodes have been on Shreveport. And so, but I will say we are hopeful and excited to be going back. But the next task is going to be preparing for our 2.5 schools that we have coming up in Iowa. All of that to say, Jesse, I'm super proud of you. I'm excited to have you on this journey with me, because it's our journey. We have 20 years in the making of trust and friendship. And, you know, what I'm excited about is I know the hard work and energy you put into the department. And so I know why you'll be missed even more, but I'm excited to like channel that and bring it all into what we're doing and see the amount of change that we're going to affect.
I appreciate those words, brother. I gotta be honest. I'm not as terrified as I thought I was going to be, or if it ever came up into my mind, I'd be terrified. So, um, thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, everybody. We're reading your comments that we're just going through. Thank you, Andres. Thanks, my brother Adrian. Thanks, Tiff. Everybody. I appreciate the words. If you know anything about my personality type, I guess I need to have structure, information, data, everything planned out. So this is very different for me, but I have a lot of faith in it, and I believe in it so much. And I have to say, for personally for me, I found myself so excited when Joe and I were on the road and we were doing the work. It's a lot of work, and sometimes it's a little stressful. But when we're done, when we see the change, we see the people on the way back, we're reading the critiques, we're getting messages and emails and texts. The academy or whatever agency we work for is telling us that they find out that their officers have used it for a good outcome. We've provided them skills. We're making the community better. Like all this outpour and love and support. And I have this like euphoric high. I do. And selfish or whatever reason, I'm happy. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy with the product. And as I get home, the work emails started coming in, and I had a very, very good position with the department. I really did. I was doing some amazing things. But I found myself this week, even in the most heightened of it, because it isn't always this high, but it was this high this week. There was a lot of activity going on that we were preventing something dangerous from happening. And while I was going through and I knew the moving parts and I could already tell what's going to happen, I'm putting things together. I'm familiar with the puzzle and the Rubik's Cube, and I'm making it happen. I have the output. I didn't have the same reward. Even knowing that I likely prevented something very bad from happening, the euphoria wasn't there. And I knew that it was the right decision. And then I had some people that would come that they've spent almost 30 years, or over 30 years in law enforcement, and they're about to retire. They're going to have their pension. They're going to have a buyback. They have all these things going for them. Free healthcare for their wife. And they were lecturing me about the danger of what I was doing, which gave me a little anxiety when they walked away from my cubicle. In that moment where I had that anxiety, Joe calls me and says, "Hey, we just got another offer. Can you write up a proposal?" And it was for a client we wanted to have on retainer for quite some time. And I took that as a universe, God, whatever it is you might believe in, telling me everything's going to be okay. And I have faith in that. So I'm not afraid. I'm nervous, anxious, and I really would like to see the future, but no one can. And every single mentor we've ever had, successful people, people that have done it, they're doing very well for themselves, have all said, you guys are going to make it and you guys are going to take off, but you have to jump in. So here we are. This is us jumping in, and 2021, bring it on.
Well, and only 2021, because 2020 is booked out. We have very little time, although I think we did just maybe squeeze in one more school in December, like up until Christmas. It'll be interesting. But I just want to take real quick. And Tommy says he's still nervous. He's been gone for about a year. Thanks, Tommy. Let's just real quick give a shout, because since our last show, the Ernie and Joe Crisis Cops documentary by the brilliant and wonderful Jennifer McShane was nominated for 2 Emmys, as you know, but it won one of them for editing. And that is a credit to Toby Shimon and the help of her team with Jen McShane. So just a huge congratulations due for them, because I'll tell you, it was a very weird thing for me. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I know the least about film and all this, but what I did know is that I didn't edit 1 second of this, and I didn't act. I didn't do anything. I mean, I just showed up. And the amount of like congratulations that I was receiving of like, hey man, awesome job, like great job, you just won an Emmy. And I'm like, no, I did not. I mean, I'm loosely affiliated with a process that like the creative minds won an Emmy, but it was just a weird thing for me to like getting all this like praise about like, oh my God, you an Emmy, an Emmy. I'm like, I assure you, I did nothing to contribute to that. But what I love about it and why I am excited is because just the buzz it creates, the fact that now that it has won an Emmy, I think more people will see it for that fact that maybe wouldn't have otherwise. And so I think that's why for me it's important because I think the more people can see it, the better. Because I understand what happened when I did my TEDx talk in 2018, and random people that I would have never met. Just watching it on YouTube, or it was referred through a circle of friends, and someone was like, hey, you got to watch this. And what that did, and that's small scale. I mean, that was a 10, 11-minute talk, but the amount of buzz that created of people reaching out to me and connecting with me to say like, hey, this is incredible. I want to show this at the police academy or whatever it is. Now to see that same thing happening with the film on a much larger scale. So it's very, very exciting. And so for all of those that congratulated me, you're congratulating the film crew, the creative team. But thank you. I accept on their behalf. And I can't wait to get up and like give Toby all the love and hugs and take a picture with her Emmy, just because that would be cool.
Well, and I think it's also just, I mean, one, we as cops don't know very much about it, right? It's just the fact that, the department's represented, various people like had glimpses of it, and the fact that they know you and they think it's amazing. But I agree. I think it's going to give it, this notoriety and recognition. One, that it deserves, and two, like it's just more to bring the conversation forward. And more importantly, like the other nomination was a social justice documentary, which right now is a very powerful construct. And to be mentioned in the arts and to be in that category is incredible. But let's really give it up to Toby. I mean, we're talking about 300 hours of film and like various contexts, different stories. I mean, from bodybuilding competitions to shot puts, to Joe making like a 20-something footer putt, to us smoking cigars at his house, to talking about the Marine Corps, to like our tragedy in our lives, to us experiencing an officer involved line of duty death. I mean, just all kinds of avenues that they could have gone. But Toby put all these things together to like make the story what it should be. And so Jen is truly a visionary because she knew there was something here. She knew there was a story here, and she wanted to capture everything. And she knew in there, how do I tell this story? And then Toby comes in and like chops it up, and boom. And so while I thought that was fascinating, I'm glad that this association of artists or however makes these decisions agreed. So excellent. And I'm glad that it's bringing notoriety to it too. So, but yeah, very, very cool stuff. So congratulations to them, everybody involved. I'm honored to just know these people.
Yeah. And just so for those of you that don't know, so you can picture it, there was many a nights where Jen would have a sleepover at Toby's with some like rotisserie chicken or baked chicken while they just like rummaged through all this footage to bring it together. And again, I never got to experience that, but I would hear the stories and I would just imagine, again, I'm just like tipping my pinky toenail into the water of like film recording, pictures, editing, that thing. Like it's not, I enjoy doing it, but I just know I'm not good at it. And so I'm like having to teach myself. So to just imagine what Jesse just talked about, which by the way, I think it was it was closer to like a 40 or 50 foot putt, not 20. Don't be so offensive, but it was great camera work by EJ because he was laying down on the green to get this phenomenal angle. But they do this like condensing, and we would shoot for a while, then we go to a restaurant and they'd have to like download on cards and switch batteries and do all this stuff, and then we go shoot for a while, and it was just such a great process. And what I love too, for those of you that don't know, just a little peek behind the scenes, is Toby never came out here on purpose. So we never met her. She never knew us outside of what she saw Jen capture. And I think that really allowed her to keep the integrity that you guys all saw in the film. Is, although she did get emotionally attached to us during the film process, even though she never met us in the flesh, but she went and bought 2 cats, named them Ernie and Joe. So the relationship still developed virtually, but the fact that she never came out here to like meet with us, spend time with us, just so she could keep everything like, I think, very, very focused for her and what the mission was going to be. So anyway, super cool. Congratulations to you, Toby, to Jen. I mean, it all starts with Jen. Obviously, she hires brilliant people. And what I know about Jen McShane is if you suck, you don't get to work with her. So she only hires really, really phenomenal human beings. So, yes. All right. I'm reading Jen's comments now, making sure I'm saying all the right things. Real quick, transitioning back to what Jesse was saying, and Elizabeth, thank you for that nudge of recognizing that Emmy. To Jesse's point, I've had that experience several times now, just in the last couple of weeks. So before I actually put in my notice, when I knew I was leaving, and then once I put in my notice, and now even since I've been gone. It's, to me, it's like, regardless of what you believe in with karma or living in your dharma, or like you have everyone in life at some point has a moment and opportunity to like live in their light, whatever it is, it's happening. I like experientially can tell you that like it is happening for me and now for us right now, because I'll tell you, I mean, I'm still terrified about the idea of like, holy crap, in 2 weeks, I'm just not going to have a paycheck come into my bank account. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like? But I trust the process, and I trust the relationships that I've built over the last 3.5 years in business. And the fact that we have people who do believe in us and who are mentoring us. But I did this great delivery yesterday for those of you that are, because most of our listeners are not in law enforcement. If JJ's still on here, the lieutenant, he got to see this training when we were there. But we in our partnership with the Neuro Leadership Institute and Milo Range, created this beautiful packaged 90-minute course specific for law enforcement. Jesse and I recorded some of the videos. Jesse's a role player in it. I'm the officer, both good officer and terrible officer, but there's lessons to be learned in it, and there's basic understanding of the brain, and it was phenomenal. And yesterday was a relatively small group, but most of the people were from the Seattle area. We had a chief from the Suquamish Indian reservation up there in Washington, but people from DC. I mean, there was law enforcement officers and chiefs from all over the country tuned into this to watch it. And I know our next one in October is going to be even bigger. November will be even bigger, in December. And so we're doing 4 of those for free for law enforcement officers, and then hopefully creating a specific curriculum next year to be delivered. But that's all stuff that we're going to be involved with, which I believe is the avenue or the opportunity to like nudge the needle to begin change from like a global level. Because there's other things happening as well. And so, it's super exciting. And speaking of, yes. Okay, hold on. We got the Catastrophically Perfect Ernie and Joe, the cat sequel.
I think Elizabeth should be a professional book title writer.
Yeah. What's up, Mikey? Love you, dude. Can't wait to see you later. Man, Mike's a great guy. We officially have our first brand ambassador, and it's Mike Marotta. Because as you look at him, you can just see he's beautiful. I need to see if I can get a hat on his wife too. But we're going to release it. He sent me a video yesterday and some great pictures, but we're going to start pushing those out. But yeah, I need to get some people in our swag and start representing it, because we're not even selling it. We're just giving things away right now, but maybe one day. Look at this. Oh, look. And that's the worst one. He's a beautiful man. Anyway, yes, trust the process to live your legacy. There you go. TTP to LYL. Looks like Elizabeth's rubbing off on my wife. Oh, and this, let me just take a moment. For this. So Sergeant Diana Sanchez Edwards out of Shreveport. She's a patrol supervisor out there. She has like instantly become one of our biggest advocates, but we have many there. Again, JJ, the lieutenant, the academy director, Sergeant Brianna Rivera, Sergeant Sanchez took the time to like reach out to Justin Hagler and thank him for this training, and then reach out to us. And she's promoting all of our stuff on social media. And like, that's what it takes is like a community of people to gather around and be courageous enough to be like, yes, like this is actually making a difference. And I've heard some incredible like anecdotal stories about things that are happening now with like, there's another sergeant named Dan Denby who is like rushing past his patrol officers to get to these mental health calls just so they can use the training that they received. It's stuff like it truly makes us emotional, because again, we know that we're having this very, very fortunate opportunity to get officers to like see the world differently, to see people differently, to really just remember. I think that's what we're in the business of. Like, if we can summarize it, which I suck at because I'm very long-winded in most everything I do and say, but if someone were to say like, what are you in the business of? I would just most succinctly say, I think Jesse and I are in the business of helping people remember, and just leave it there. Because remember what I think, like, here's the deal is every child is born into this world filled with nothing but like love and curiosity. It's our world around us as we grow older that we start to develop judgments and opinions and all these things that become negative. But I think if we can just remember back to like what our like what our intrinsic desires are, which is just to love and be loved, I think that's a great place to start. So we are in the business of helping people remember. Boom. All right. I just made that up. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't stick, but yeah. And she's saying they talked yesterday about us. This is great. Sarge, I don't know if you have Twitter, but Elizabeth wants your Twitter handle. Okay. So real quick, I want to transition onto something right now. Jesse, I want you to also tell them. Now, I want to be realistic because your last day is Friday next week. Saturday, we're free. Sunday, we fly out. So I'm thinking not next week, but the week after, possibly, we could release something.
Yes. So a year ago, around this time, we were in full stride of our podcast. But speaking of podcast, before we get off, Jessica Smarrow has an amazing podcast you guys got to check out. And that's what Joe was doing. He was doing the editing and the producing for his main woman. But this was our podcast. It was ours. And it was a cool animation of a photo that Joe and I took before we went to go get an award. And we thought that this would be an inconspicuous artwork that would just show that we're police officers, but would have no affiliation with their agency. It would be the equivalent in our mind at the time to, taking a picture and then blotting it out, the patch, blotting it out, the number and the name. Very inconspicuous, or so we thought. And we went with it. We did the artwork, we recorded a bunch of sessions, and it took off like a podcast. We recorded several podcasts. And it was also very therapeutic for me. I had lost my sister during this process. Joe and I were getting amazing reviews, and Joe got really technically savvy during this time, got very creative with sound. And I mean, it was fun. And then it got so fun and so big that an article from the San Antonio Current was done, and they put this all over the place, and they named us as San Antonio police officers. San Antonio police officers start a new podcast. They take our pictures from our social media in uniform. They quote us from the podcast. It's a brilliant article. I just found it on a Google search because I wanted to see where Truly Mental would fall. And one day I Googled it within a couple of episodes, and bam, San Antonio Current. That story gets really big. So then they start calling our police department. Hey, we want to interview these guys. And then the cookie crumbled pretty devastatingly. For the record, we were never contacted by any media, by any journalists. We were not quoted talking to journalists, they quoted us from the podcast, and we never even mentioned the name of our police department on the podcast. But when all the smoke cleared, Joe and I were not in trouble. We just couldn't do it anymore. So then we decided to go on social media live, and we've been doing that since. But live can be messy, as you just saw this morning. And I don't know if we are going into the topics the way we used to and how we wanted to. So after next weekend, Joe's going to put all our old episodes on. We'll probably have different artwork, probably. Very much so. And Truly Mental's back, baby. We're going to be doing podcast episodes. We're going to have time now, whether on the road or not. Everyone's like, oh, what are you going to do with all your free time? There's no free time. Like, I'm only going to be home Thanksgiving and Christmas, which is great because we'll have a week off for those. There is no time. And Matt Dudley, really good dude. I loved working side by side that man. He's a very intelligent man. Served his country, serves his community. Isn't he your classmate, Joe? Yeah.
He is, yeah.
Great history buff. The guy, you can have conversations with him for hours about everything. He's just a good dude. I'm going to miss working with that guy. But I digress. So that's what's coming. That's what's going to happen. And I may have revealed too much of the story, but in our defense, we didn't do anything wrong. And I'm very, very anxious to get back to doing Truly Mental because I really, really loved it.
Yes, Diana. And yes, Dudley is my academy classmate. Great dude. He's brilliant. You can tell just because he joined the Air Force and not the Marine Corps. So speaking of Marine Corps, this walking bush. So this guy here, Raul Gee, it's so good to see you, man. We're going to have this guy on our one of our Saturday shows just because I love this man. I miss him. It's crazy to think he's a father now because I can't see him as anything other than a very hairy man in whitey tighties listening to Ace of Base. All she wants is another baby while eating fried plantains. That's my memory of Walking Bush. But he says, we've been handling Messi since October 2000. He's such a great dude. Anyway, I'm glad you're on here, Raul. So on a serious note, your endorphins are showing, gentlemen, through and through. Yeah, Elizabeth, we're just having a good time. You know, it's great to, I mean, I don't want to go too far down into it, but it's like I mentioned yesterday on the Daily Gig, which if we have any new listeners right now, please go follow Jessica Smaro and on Facebook. Every morning we do our Daily Gig, which is our gratitude, our inspiration, and our goal for the day. And we do that every single day. I think we're up over like 60, 70 now days in a row, but we would love for you to join that group as well. But you know, what I said yesterday was like, there's nothing better than the sound of your feet walking away from something not meant for you. And then Jesse posted it on his Instagram account, but to me, I just love it. Like there's something super freeing. And I don't just say this because I'm like trying to convince myself, I assure you, but I'm not worried about the money or whatever. My wife might be freaking out as she listens to this somewhere else right now, but I'm not worried about it. I just believe it'll happen. And again, to me, I was telling one of our clients yesterday, like, I'm not trying to like get rich and lose my mind. I just want to like be able to pay my bills, but change the world. And so I'm not worried about the financial gain, but I feel so 2 days in, I feel so like just liberated of I can absolutely go where I want to go, when I want to go, not have to ask for time off, not have to ask to leave early, not have to ask permission to speak, not have to ask permission to do an interview. Like if someone wants to interview me, call me. In fact, stand by. If you want to connect with me, text me. So I'm a part of community now. I'm building out a community. If you're a first responder, I'm going to put you in a first responder community. If you're not, I still want you to join. And I'm just going to send out once I get it up. Right now, it's still a little small, but once I build it up, I can do up to 500 people right now. But I want to just send out little like encouragements, you know, every couple days, just send something out or a thought that I have or share a picture or a video because this is like a new age version of social media because you can't scroll through it. It's a text message direct to you. And you can even respond to it. So you can reply and it comes to me. So anyway, if you don't have this yet, standard messaging data rates apply, which means it's free because it's 2020, unless you have like a Zach Morris phone, and you still have to pay 10 cents a text, but it has to be said. So just sign up for it. It's free. It is me. And then I would love to connect with you beyond what we do here, because it's the way of the world. Let's stay connected. But anyway, a lot of exciting things happening. I want to be realistic. We'll probably record our first podcast next Saturday when Jesse's over here for our show. We'll record an episode after. I'll have to do all the editing work, add some music to it. And then we might release it sometime in that week. I'm thinking like Wednesday nights might be our time, just because that's what I like to do. So if we have it ready Wednesday, my only thing is I don't want to not be able to record, because we really are gone 3.5 weeks straight into October. We come home for 2 days and then we're gone the last week of October. So I don't want to just release an episode and then not have anything else for another couple weeks. So
hey, thanks, Eli. Eli's a great dude. Funny guy. Beast is watching. Beast wants us back. We can't wait. Tina, great person in our first class. I believe a corporal of Shreveport, doing crazy, amazing things. And I love Mike. Hi, Susan. Susan's always joining us. She's doing great. Always supporting us. Text Joe. Text him now. Do it. I gotta say though, we sound like we're gonna starve, Joe, when we talk about leaving, and how we want to do good, but want to take care of our families and pay our bills. We're going to do very well this year, and I just want to leave it at that. And I will say, I've never tried to compete with anybody, just myself. I've always had the motto, you're never going to be the smartest person. You may not be the fastest or strongest person in a room, but always try to be the hardest working and be the most real, and good things will come. And I feel like that's happening because it's more than we're more than paying our bills this year. And I'm glad it's happening for us and doing what we love. I think Joe's going to try to solve some problems here. We're going to let him do that. And he's showing off the swag. I saw, Diana, don't think I missed it. I saw that you wanted a hat, and one's coming to you. We got limited ones, but you deserve one, Sarge. I know we can't get shut up about Shreveport. We just can't. Like, we love everybody at Shreveport. Beast, Dan, like everybody. Like, we just love Shreveport. Yosha, like we got big fans there. But what has impressed me the most about Shreveport is their supervisors. Their supervisors get it. They're involved. And there's nothing better about leadership than leaders that set example. And I love that. They're talking the talk and walking the walk. And that's admirable. So we love some Shreveport supervisors. Bill Hendricks, loved working with that dude. That dude's a maniac when it comes to getting things done. His dad was Sergeant Major in the Marine Corps, and you can see how the Marine Corps rubbed off on that man. So, Joe, you all right over there? Doing good?
Yeah, man, I'm just giving my rah-rahs to Hendricks. Hey, so one thing I wanted to say that I just forgot. Typically what we did, we ran out. This is on me. I'm going to order some as soon as we hang up. But we usually will give out our Solution Point Plus pins. They're like lapel pins that you can wear in your uniform. And now, if your agency approves it, so I'm going to make a new order. I'm going to get new pins made. And when we go back to Shreveport next month, I'll make sure everyone that's gone through the training gets them. And then the new class gets them as well. It's only for those that go through the training from us. And we want to like build our community of Solution Point Plus trained officers and first responders, because we train fire too. I got you, all you firemen out there that have been saying you got to include us more. I hear you. The other thing is, and I'm going to give credit to Elizabeth, but as Jesse was talking, something came up for me that she says, and again, she says a lot of just brilliant things, but most of us have heard the saying, hurt people, but also like what we are set out to do, what me and Jesse are set out to do is help people. And so we're trying to not just educate, but demonstrate through our experiences, through our lives, how we can better help these officers, help other people, help first responders, help other people, help business leaders, help their direct reports. Just plainly stated, we want to help people, and again. So yeah, we're in the business of helping people remember, and we're in the business of helping people help people, and we're in all kinds of business of just showing up and doing good, like letting your best version of your best self show. And when you're at your worst, let that show up too, because what we don't want to do is hide and pretend and act like we have it all figured out and we have it together. There's going to be moments where we're struggling, where we're flailing around, panicking. But that's what I also am super excited about, selfishly, for Jesse taking this leap with me, is that we have each other to lean on, because while our families are super supportive, and that's the only reason this is happening, because if our wives are like, you're an idiot, this is terrible, I'm leaving you, I'd be like, well, maybe we should think at least for a day about this. Like, do we want to do this or not? But the point is that they're being very supportive. And so it's because of that that we're able to do what we're wanting to do. And who doesn't want, like, you get one shot at this life, right? And I've said this many times, but because we're up to 3,200 people live right now listening, I want to just say, one of my biggest fears in life, and I learned this at therapy, but I don't want to be on my deathbed or knowing that I'm like sick and potentially, I have an expiration date in the next couple months, but I'm unable to like go out and do what I want to do. I don't want to sit back and end my last few months in regret. That like scares the hell out of me. And so for me, it's like, no, I don't, because I've known for several years now, I've known this isn't for me. Like, I love people and first responders. I love them. But for me to do this job and to keep grinding this out and have all these like hand slaps and all that, it's not for me. I want to go and do something else. I want to go and help other people in a different way. And so I've known that. And so, but to actually get to do it, because I'll tell you, I teach a lot of classes and I've taught our in-service academy this whole year. And the amount of people that come up to me and just blatantly tell me that they're miserable and they're unhappy, but they have nothing else to do. They just have to wait for the pension. They're just waiting to get to the pension. It's like, you're just letting life pass you by just so that you can get to this arbitrary date, this arbitrary number, get this pension, retire. And guess what? You're still miserable. And so I don't want that. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for Jesse. And I've known too, like Jesse's also communicated to me for the last several years of like, yeah, we know we're most alive when we're doing what we do best. And while we both became really good at what we were doing in law enforcement, we still know that we are at our best when we're doing what we love, not what other people love us doing. And so that's why I'm excited too, to have you on this journey with me, Jesse, is just because we can lean on each other when times are scary or we're worried or we're nervous. And I also imagine if ever there were a need to be homeless, it would be fun to do it with you.
I totally agree, Joe. I can't agree more. As a matter of fact, I think my saying this week has been, we're either going to be millionaires or homeless. There is no in between. There just isn't. And that'd be cool to do it. And Samantha Hudson, wow, joining us on YouTube. She is a great LinkedIn supporter and just master of all things mental health in law enforcement across the pond, as they say. And she's been with us since our podcasting days. So a great supporter. She does amazing things and is an expert in PTSD in law enforcement. And Elizabeth Stevens is stealing my thunder for my closing, but she's absolutely right. And we'll talk about that in just a second. And she's giving the great resources that are available. Copline is a good one. And Diane is giving that. And look who we have here. Devil Dog, we're going to love you too. We miss you too. You do great things for the department. You're a beautiful face to the department, and that's why you get so many amazing people to join. And you're right, Tommy. We know lots of people. Tommy knows more than anyone. Tommy is the executive director of 70 Heroes Place. He has made honor chairs for hundreds of officers that have fallen in the line of duty, and he knows that it's not guaranteed. We got a lot of supporters, a lot of comments this week. Wow, I love it. I love it, Tiff. And Tiff knows good homeless resources, so I feel confident we got a social worker in our corner that can get us into something. We can bounce back. But what was I getting? Well, I lost myself in all of that. Yes. I don't know. Uh, yeah, Joe. Like, you're right, man. If you knew the amount of people that say that statement that Joe mentioned, like, I'm just counting the days. I'm just counting the days. They read the news. They hear something coming down. They'll get involved in something. Right now, I can feel like in the air a thickness of certain like negativities that are just coming from people surrounding them because they're so miserable. And I don't want to say everyone's like that, but a lot of people in this profession right now are. And while we could make some changes within our agency, which is cool, I think it'd be better to make it, if we can, our overall culture. Something came up. So a few things, right? One, there's something that's referred to as external validity in research methods, and it's just a fancy way of saying that you can do a study one way and get some results in one area, but it's going to be different in another. You can't guarantee it, right? Sometimes where your environment matters in your outcomes, and I've tried to take that to heart with our training and programs. And the reason I bring that up is because Joe mentioned that he was doing NLI work up in the Pacific Coast, the Northern Pacific Coast. And Joe and I also did a Zoom meeting with some very involved people in their social justice in that area. And you can see how different perspectives matter in things. They really do. But I think there's one thing that transcends all environments, and that is human connection, empathy, listening, willing to be open. And I think that's what we offer. And something came up, and it irks at me. And it used to be my own inhibition. And that was like, well, some places already have CIT. Some places give CIT away for free. Like, CIT should be given away. In doing this with Joe, and doing it both when we did it in the department and even more so now, this model was dangerous because who delivers the message, how it's delivered, and what you're trying to accomplish in delivering the message matters. And if you are just somebody that says, hey, I'm a police instructor and I'm going to read to you about CIT off a PowerPoint, and then you applaud your organization saying, we have CIT, you haven't changed culture. You haven't changed anything. I'm going to say it again. I said it a couple of weeks ago. We have the best crisis intervention training in the United States. Hell, maybe in the world, right? And even if you've had it, you haven't had this. You haven't had him. You haven't had me. You haven't had the group of people that we'll bring together. We have our stories and we bring them to you. We give it to you raw, but we make it relatable. We put science, personal story, and experience in a triangle, package to you brilliantly, and give it to you. So if you know somebody that's saying, oh, we already do that, no, you don't. I promise you don't. Give us a chance. You'll see. Right, Joe?
He's aggressive. It would just be nice. You don't have to, but I appreciate what he's saying. He's very confident in what we do, which is great. I think it's required. And no, we do believe that. But again, it's not us like tooting our own horn. This is based on also testimonials, feedback that we've received, people that have been in this profession for over 2 or 3 decades who have told us consistently, like, this is the best thing I've ever been to. What's super unique about that is we've received that type of feedback anywhere we've gone. So it's not just specific to what the community that we go to. The common denominator and all that is, me and Jesse show up, because here's what's also exciting is going forward, we're about to expand and we're going to bring a few people on board where we have vetted them. People like Zach, as long as he can get it worked out in his organization so that he doesn't have to deal with everything that, we've had to deal with. John Sabo is another guy that is on the cusp of retirement, and I trust that guy to be organized and run things because he's been an officer for about 33 years. He's got 30 years in the military, and the guy has a lot of experience. But even then, I would like, and they know this. I'm not saying anything offensive or being mean, but like what Jesse and I have the ability to do is like really second to none. And it's that combination that we have together because, again, it's 20 years of friendship and experiences coming together, of education, of therapy, of everything that we bring in to that entire experience. But as we grow and bring people in like Zach and John, and I would love to find a role for people like Gabe and Mike, beyond just being the brand ambassador, Mike, and leveraging your beauty, because Mike's a phenomenal instructor as well. Mike is an incredible speaker, and he's very comfortable. And we're trying to get Gabe he's great at teaching what he knows. I mean, he's an Olympic weightlifting coach, but once we can get him experienced with the content more, because again, it would just be, here's my thing. Like, I want to work around people I love, and Jim McShane will get this. People who have done this will get this. I mean, most people are stuck in a corporate world or in a work environment where you don't have choice over who your colleagues are, who your fellow employees are. That's the beautiful part about owning your business, is that you get to pick and choose who you do business with and who you work with. And so I would only bring people in that I vetted and trusted and that Jesse and I both love and can get along with. So anyway, looking forward to some expansion and growth as we start to deploy some of our resources out to other areas while we're doing these trainings simultaneously. So people are just agreeing with us. This is great. Thanks, everyone. Tiff, Diana, Elizabeth, you guys are awesome. Solution Point Plus is the best because you guys educate yourself. Yes. Bring your best self. Yes. We're passionate. Yes. And we're honest and real. Heard that. And then Mike Davis says, all amazing officers and instructors. You guys definitely have a winning team. Good people doing great work for the community. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, it's so anyway, I think I'm feeling uncomfortable tooting our own horn enough, but this is why we got to hire people to do it for us. But anyway, Jesse, we're coming up at like 51 here, so let's start thinking about wrapping up and moving on.
I'm glad to see Mike Davis on. Very good guy. I love that dude. I worked very close beside him. We did some amazing work. And he keeps the area safe. San Antonio is safer because of that, man. Most people need to know that. So today, I was reminded from the organization Blue Help and Karen Solomon that today is, National Law Enforcement Suicide Awareness Day, and as Elizabeth mentioned also. And most people don't know this, and we've mentioned it a few times, but while CIT is about making officers better at interacting with people in a mental health crisis, some are able to, and ours especially, use this platform to start bringing insight into law enforcement's own mental health. Like, they start looking inward at themselves. They start thinking about things that experiences they've had or why they do things. Joe is an expert at connecting with people and making them start looking at themselves, and not in a shameful way. Like, he's able to bring that out on people. And I was reminded of this today, right? And I thought, Joe and I have, for the past 3 years, really often decided, like, what are we doing? Like, how can we make a difference? Where should we be? Where can we get paid? That's important. Like, if you're going to have a business and you're not making profit, you're really just spinning your wheels. You're losing money. And we've talked about different visions, but one that's been consistent with Joe, and I've heard him say it many times, is a vision is a grand statement. It's a grand statement by an organization that says, this is like a dream of ours. It may not even be something that you can ever obtain, but your purpose in life, the organization's roles and in the world, is to get to this. And ours would be to eradicate first responder suicide if we could. And we're passionate about this because we've struggled with it. We know people that have ended their life, and we know people that we've prevented them from ending their life, and we've got them better. We've got them help, and we've watched their journey grow. And as I decide to make this transition, this journey, I'm reminded that The only thing that's going to matter to me more than anything is being around people I love, like Joseph Smorrow, making the world a better place and feeling good about it. For me, it's relationships and outcomes over profit. And we're learning that the profits will come. I don't know what the future holds, but I know it's something good. And I'm very, very optimistic about it, which is highly unusual for someone like me. And you could hear the optimism and my confidence beaming in my earlier statement. And I mean it through and through. Not because I am trying to sell anyone anything, but because the time is now for change. Like it's now. Like everyone is pulled apart. And somehow, God, just regular dudes like Joe and I, just regular guys, have been in a fortunate position to like bring things together, bring people together. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's about, but I want to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it. Please keep enjoying the journey with us. Share, like, comment, subscribe, text Joe, keep in touch with us, all these things, right? We got our social media platforms. If you want to know more about the training, let us know. There's several things we can do for you and for everyone. I love all you guys. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm happy and full of love. And here we go, Joe.
Negative. It's here we grow. Here we grow. And because it is Law Enforcement Suicide Day and I'm a man for quotes, I saw one that I think maybe somebody needs to hear or can share. And it's a little dark, but I think bear with me here. So suicide, it says no one kills themselves in suicide. It's someone else inside of them. They're the ones who control the razor, pull the rope over the neck, pull the trigger, and swallow the pills. They write the goodbye letter because in the end, the person who dies isn't you. And what I would add to that, because there's no like person who said that, but what I would add to that is the person who dies isn't you. You're killing the version of yourself that you've allowed yourself to believe that you've become. And the reason that happens is because we quickly forget, we lose our way in remembering our value, remembering our worth, remembering our purpose, all things that keep people like energized and alive. And it's not to diminish and say if someone is struggling or suffering and that's not real, it is real. Whatever anyone's feeling is real. And we would never minimize that. But what I'm saying is there a moment, is there an opportunity for you to maybe just pause and try and remember, who did you used to be? And the way you feel right now is based on what you've believed yourself to become. But if you can remember back to a time, or if not, can you imagine a time where things could be better? And then do the things, develop the micro habits, do the things that are required to get there. So anyway, like Jesse said, I love hearing this man emote. It is not something that's super common. I've known him 20 years. He doesn't use the word love a whole lot in my presence, but it excites me. It excites me to just see things happening. And so I've long been a very emotive and just this emotional being that has no problem saying I love you, because I do. And I appreciate what all of you do for my life, for my mind, and for everything that's going to happen to and through us going forward. I thank you. And we will see y'all next week. Be well. Take care.